Hi, boys and girls. In lesson 25, we talked about comprehension and how we understand stories after we read them and being able to answer questions after we've read a story. In lesson 25, we read a fiction story. Do you know what fiction means? That's right. Fiction means a story that is not real, a story that is made up or make believe. Today, we are going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to try to answer questions and use our comprehension skills on a non-fiction story. The story that we're going to be reading today is called Building a Better Bicycle, and this is non-fiction. Do you know what non-fiction means? Yes, a story that is true and gives actual facts. This story is called Building a Better Bicycle. Follow along with me. Bicycles have a long, interesting history. The first bicycle was developed more than 200 years ago. Early bicycles, however, did not look like today's bikes. One of the first bicycles was called the hobby horse. It was made of wood. People rode by pushing their feet along on the ground. Later, a bicycle that had pedals and metal tires was invented. It was not comfortable. It was called the bone shaker. Inventors kept working to make bicycles more comfortable. Next, the high wheeler was developed. It had a very big wheel in the front. This bicycle was not easy to ride because the rider sat up high on the bike. The rider could be hurt pretty badly in a fall. Then bicycles began then bicycles began to have two wheels that were the same size. Those bikes looked more like bicycles today. More than 100 years ago, bicycles began to have rubber tires filled with air. That was the solution to the problem of a bumpy ride. The new tires made riding smoother. Today, children's bicycles and racing bikes are popular. People ride bikes to get exercise. Bicycling is safer too. Now people wear helmets and bikes have reflectors on them. Okay, we've just got done reading our story. Now we're going to go answer some questions over this passage. We want to see how much we understood from what we read. The first question was, what was developed more than 200 years ago? If you didn't know the answer, what could you do? Yeah, go back and look in the passage. Go back and reread. So what was developed more than 200 years ago? The first bicycle, the first bike with pedals, the first high-wheeler. That's right. The first bicycle was developed more than 200 years ago. Answer A. Question 2. One problem with early bicycles was that they were bumpy to ride. What was used as the solution to this problem? Bikes with rubber tires filled with air, wooden bikes without pedals, bikes with metal tires and pedals. What helps it make not such a bumpy ride? Right, bikes with rubber tires that were filled with air. Question 3. Early bicycles were very different from today's bicycles. What evidence from the text supports this conclusion? Wow, that's a big question. What do you think the word evidence means? Right, evidence is the things that was actually read about in the story to help us make the decision that early bicycles were different from today's bicycles. The first bicycle was developed more than 200 years ago. People today ride bicycles to get exercise and wear helmets as they ride. The hobby horse was made of wood and people rode it by pushing their feet. How do we know that early bicycles were very different from today's bicycles? Right, A, the first bicycle was developed more than 200 years ago. The next question is, the bicycle with pedals and metal tires was called the bone shaker. What can you infer about the bicycle based on this name? Wow, the word infer. What do you think the word infer means? Yeah, that's our guess. That's our prediction. What do you think that means without the author really telling us that? So the bicycle with pedals and metal tires was called the bone shaker. What can you infer about the bicycle being based on this name? So the bicycle's name was Bone Shaker. So it was smooth to ride, but the seat made people's bones hurt. People liked riding the bicycle more than earlier bicycles, or it was bumpy, shaky, and not comfortable to ride. Yeah, C. It was bumpy, shaky, and not comfortable to ride. We can infer that from the name of Bone Shaker. Question 5. What was the main idea of this article? Main idea. Main idea means what the story is mainly about. So as we read the story, could you tell me what the main idea was? Rubber tires are very important to bicycles today because they make riding smoother. The first bicycle was developed more than 200 years ago. Our bicycles have changed and gotten better in many ways since they were first developed. What is the whole passage about? That's right, C. Bicycles have changed and gotten better in many ways since they were first developed. Good job. Now what I want you to do is go to Storyline Online, pick a story, and have it being read to you. See if your parents can ask you questions in regards to that story.